Okay, and then let me go and start the screen share, and we should be good to go.
All right. Awesome.
Okay, can you all see the screen?
Yes. No. I'm just
Okay.
seeing, would you like to allow other Mac users?
Nope, hold on. Give me a sec then. Okay, let's see if it works if I do this.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And we'll start the slideshow. All right, there we go.
There we go. Awesome. So as most of you know, my name is Dion Poovey. I am the senior manager of our fulfillment and customer success team. I have been with Zen for about 2.5 years, but I've been in this industry and helping entrepreneurs start their businesses for a little over 10 years now. So I've seen things from talking to customers, talking them through the frustrations of figuring out what's going on, to now running a team that actually works with the different agencies to get the documents filed. We'll talk more specifically about what that means. But it's been awesome to be able to see this from kind of start to finish on how people get through starting their businesses. What we do, I have a passion for it because we're able to see people make their dreams come true. All of you are obviously taking a step in the direction of trying to figure out what those steps are and what that means to you. So I admire all of you for having the confidence in knowing that you're ready to take that step. I wish I was strong enough or brave enough to be a business owner. I'm not quite there yet, but it is a dream of mine. So I'm super excited to be here to share all of this information with you. Along with me, I have Shama Stepp, which is one of our managers on our fulfillment team. She'll be speaking in a little bit. I also have Megan Fuentes. She is another one of our managers on our fulfillment team. And then we have Mr. Matt Hausman. He is the Senior Director of Customer Success. He's worked really closely with us in the past and as well as currently on different initiatives. And this is also just working with this group in Synergies Works is a passion of his, and he's shared it with me, and super excited to have everybody here to share all of this great information with you. So I'll go ahead and move on to the next slide. And again, just want to talk about a few little tidbits of information that should help you with starting your business. First of all, like I said, congrats to all of you for feeling like you are at a point where you're ready to learn more about what direction do I need to go and what things do I truly need to be able to start a business. There's different ways that you can go about it. There's different places that you file documents with to become a legal entity. One of the main ones that we work with at ZenBusiness is the Secretary of State. Each state has one of these. And yes, that means that we work individually with each different state, and each state likes to be an individual, just like we like to be our own selves and our own personalities. They have their own personalities and their own requirements for things that they like done certain ways per state. So we have to keep all of that in mind, and all of the information that we give you guys, just keep in mind that it's different for each state. If you'd like, maybe in the chat, type what state you're in so we know what different states we have here in the room with us today. And we'll keep an eye on that for when we go through to maybe tie some things back to your state specifically. But keep that in mind. Things are different for each state. So if you've got questions, keep those for the end, and we'll be able to answer those. But the Secretary of State, are also known as the SOS, is an agency that we work with to get the documents filed. And that's where we'll file your LLC or corporation documents. The next agency that we like to just remind you about or keep you aware of is the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. This, if you've had a job, I'm sure you know and are familiar with them because they want our tax dollars. They do the same thing for your business, and it is a big part of getting your business started, having a document filed with them. And I'll go into that a little bit later as well. One of the things that you need to decide when starting your business is, what is my business purpose, or what is the activity that my business is going to be doing? knowing that direction really can guide some of the things that you have to do later on. All right, it sounds like we've got some Georgia people in here. Awesome. The other thing is registered agent. Shama will go into this a little bit later, but a registered agent, or also known as RA, is something that you'll also hear quite a bit whenever starting your business and gathering information and things that you need. That is something that you'll also need. We'll go into a little more detail on all of these things as we go through here, but just those are some key terms I wanted you to be aware of. Next, we'll go ahead and go into the specific differences between the type of entities that we are the most familiar with and that most entrepreneurs start off filing. The two that you see here are LLCs and corporations, which is a limited liability company or a corporation. They both are basically set up to protect your personal assets from your business assets. So once you start a business, if anything does go wrong, it's only your company's assets that can be affected, not your personal assets. That's one of the big benefits of getting your company set up. Corporations are a little bit more complex. They do have more requirements and regulations, such as you have to have annual meetings and document them. You have to elect a board of directors, where LLCs are very much more, if you're an individual trying to get it started, it's much more simple. The way that you can look at ownership of these two different things is the structure. Structure varies between these two. For LLCs are basically owned, or the ownership of an LLC is expressed through being a member of an LLC. And then you can also have managers, which managers can be your day-to-day. You can do both of them. You can be the member and the manager. So one person can start an entity and do all of that themselves, which most of you are likely going to be in that situation. You're trying to get your business started yourself and managing it. Once it gets up and running, then you may change things later on. But for the start of it, that's more than likely how you're going to set it up. Membership or ownership is expressed with percentages or units, meaning if I was owning a business by myself, I could have 100% ownership or 100 units to myself. Or if I wanted to go into business with, say, Shama could be a 50% owner and I could be a 50% owner, and we would both be members. How you divide that up or decide who's going to have more or less is completely up to you as the owner of the business. It's just documented as such in your operating agreement, which is a document that is also aligned with your LLC. The corporations are a bit different. Corporations have a board of directors, they have officers, and they have shareholders. Your shareholders are your owners of the business, and shares can be broken up into by numbers. There also are different types of shares that can be common stock or common or preferred stock. So it gets a little bit more difficult, but there are different ways that you have to set those up. The shareholders would be the ones that elect your board of directors, which then give to the officers to run the day-to-day. So there is just a little difference between those two whenever getting that set up. The documents that we have, once you do make all these decisions for yourself and either fill out the information online yourself, or you give all that information to ZenBusiness to do this for you, what we do is we go in and put all of that in on an application with the Secretary of State. And then we get a real shiny, pretty document. There's some examples here of what those look like. They're different for each state, but you do get a document back. And if it's an LLC, it's called Articles of Organization or a Certificate of Formation, which the way that I like to remember it is it's like the birth certificate of your business. This is what basically tells you, congratulations, you are official with the state and you're able to conduct your business under this LLC. For corporations, it's very similar. There's Articles of Incorporation, which is then the birth certificate of your corporation. And it's a document you'll have to keep up with and keep record of, just as that is your official document of the birth of your company. We do have one other type of entity or type of business that people do use. We at ZenBusiness only file these along the side with an LLC, but you can do them on your own if you would like to. These are called DBAs, or doing business as, and which meaning doing business as another name other than yourself. Some states also call it a trade name or a fictitious name. It's just another name that you can either call your business, or if I'm not ready to necessarily start a business or start an LLC, I can do a DBA as a sole proprietor to also get my business started. Then I can jump into the big leagues and get an LLC or corporation if I decide that's the route that I want to go. And that's pretty much on the entities. Next slide, please. We are going to talk about, let me get a drink of water. Next slide, we're going to talk about your entity name. This is one of the biggest decisions that you make, and also is exciting and fun for you to actually put a face or a name to this idea or to this product that you're going to be launching. So once you've determined what avenue you want to go down, if it's an LLC or a corporation, then you'll go into the steps of, okay, now what am I going to call my business? Once there's different things that need to go into deciding your business name. Again, each state has different rules on their naming, the way that they name things. Some accept anything. Some are going to get really, really nitpicky. I don't think Georgia's as nitpicky as some other states, but you can do a search for yourself. If you've got an idea or a thought like, let me see if there's other names that are like this. There's a place on the Secretary of State website that you can search the name, and there's different pieces of it that you can look to see if it is available. ZenBusiness does this for every order that we get. Before we start processing anything, we will receive an order and we will look at the name, and we'll start kind of nitpicking it, picking it apart to see, is this going to be a name that's going to be accepted by the Secretary of State? The first things that we do is look, obviously, what state is it in, and get familiar with what those rules are for that state. Do any of you have a name that you've already picked or that you have an idea about? If you do, you can post it in the chat, and I can try to do a small little name check for you. Have anybody? While we're waiting for that, I'll go ahead and move on to some of the other information about it. The way that we do it is, say we have Dion's Cake House. Okay, we do have one from Jennifer. We've got Dio. Can you pronounce that for me? How do you pronounce that?
DIY Vinci.
DIY Vinci, I like that. And I can tell from that name, it kind of sounds like it's do-it-yourself ideas. Are you doing some crafts and stuff?
Yep, I am.
Awesome, I love it. I love that idea. And then we see Sights Unseen. So as you see, these words are kind of, coming up with a company name, you can blend other words, you can take different meanings of things, you can make it your own. That's the creative and exciting part of it. But you just keep in mind, let's see if there's any other names that are the same. The main thing the state wants to stay away from is confusing your customers. Is there going to be a name that's exactly the same? So if it is, they may suggest that to change that a little bit. They may reject, the state can reject it and say this name is not available, come up with another name. So it's good to kind of have a couple names in mind when you're getting ready to file, just so that if that first one is not available, you'll have some other ones to check through. So like DIY Vinci, what we would do with that is we would probably look at DIY just to see if there's any other DIYs. If there's a space, sometimes that can differentiate it. Some states accept geographical location, so having like the city that you're in after it sometimes will differentiate it, sometimes it won't. Sometimes the states will accept symbols. If you want to have an amber sign or a plus sign within your name, sometimes they will accept it, sometimes they won't, depending on what state you're in. The other thing that comes in with this is, once you've decided your name, is then deciding what indicator do I want, or what designator do I want. What that means is the portion, once you decide if you're an LLC or a corporation, then you have, at the end of your name, will tell your customers what type of business you are. So if DIY Vinci is an LLC, you could present your name as DIY Vinci LLC or limited liability company, or something that just indicates what type of entity you are within your company name. The designators for a corporation would be a corp, Inc., incorporation, corporation. You can take any variations of those, and those are accepted within your company name. Some of the things that we want to give you a heads up about and just remind you about is certain words like healthcare or doctor or banking. Those types of words are either going to be a red flag to us to say, we may need to ask some more questions about this company and what they're doing, because if you are opening a bank, as you can imagine, it's not going to be as easy just to go set up and say, hey, I'm Dion's bank, give me your money. You have to go through some certifications and regulations to be able to do that. So we keep our eye out for it, as well as the state keeps an eye out for it, to see if there's any other information that's needed to be able to accommodate that name. And again, just because I have to remind you all the time, it depends on the state that you're in, on what those requirements are, as well as what's already been filed in that state and all of that. But that's the fun part about it. And I love the names that you guys are giving. Those look super fun. All right, next I will move on to our EIN. This is also another document that's really important in Tiffany, we'll get to that. Save that question for the end, and we'll talk about options if you've already started in changing your name. As far as the employer identification number, the EIN, this goes back to our old friends at the IRS. They are the ones that require for this number, and this is a federal number, so it's also known as an FEIN, so federal identification number, federal employer identification number, and this is what's used to identify your business. So another easy way to remember this is it's like the Social Security number, the Social Security card of your business. So when you have a child or you're new, you've got a birth certificate that tells you what you are. That's your articles of incorporation or articles of organization. Then you have your Social Security number, which is your EIN. You've got those two documents. Those are two of your most important. They're not the only documents, but they are your most important ones that you'll need to get when setting up your business. Why do you need an EIN? There's a bunch of different reasons why you need an EIN, but the most common reasons are if you're going to have employees, you'll need to have an EIN. To open up a bank account, almost every single bank that we've ever worked with or have had customers work with, they need to have an EIN letter, which there's a copy of one here, in order to start, or at least have their EIN number that is specified for their business. The other thing is, if you are applying for a loan or you're getting investors into your company, you're going to need to have an EIN to do that. So it's important to have that number, and we assist in the process of getting an EIN. What information is needed in order to get an EIN? You'll need to have a tax matters member, which is usually a member or an officer of your business. And they'll need to have a Social Security number. And then that person is really basically the contact between the IRS and and your company. So if there's any questions, anything that needs to happen, they're the ones that can handle those things for you. We'll go back to the business purpose. Business purpose is important. They want to know what you're doing. What type of business are you going to be conducting, so that they know what tax classification to kind of put you under. And then your structure. Your structure is always going to be important on remembering if you want to be member managed or manager managed. How many people are you going to have? Are you going to be a corporation where you're going to have directors and officers, or is it going to be an LLC and you're going to be the member and you're going to have managers underneath you? All of those decisions go into this, and there is places to put that information in for your EIN application, which is also known as an SS4. That is all that I have to share with you guys for today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Shama, and she's going to go ahead and take it from here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shama, and this is actually the first time I've ever done anything like this. So I first want to say thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here. I have been with ZenBusiness for about 5 years. I've been in the corporate filing industry pushing paper for about 10 years. So my knowledge base is really focused on the beginning foundation of your business, the initial registration and establishing your business, the stuff you don't really want to mess with. The first topic I'm going to speak on is appointing your registered agent. So what is your registered agent? This is a required appointment for all secretaries of states in some shape or form. So your RA is an individual or a company that is capable or certified to take on the responsibility of the registered agent services. For example, processing important legal documents through service of process, which is also called SOP. RA information, which is registered agent, is always made visible for the company, and it must be a physical address within the state you're doing business in. So it can't be a PO box or a virtual or personal mailbox. It has to be a physical address. Another requirement for your registered agent is they have to be 18 years or older to accept these documents during those normal working hours. This means if you choose to be your own agent, your home or business address is publicly available through the registered agent appointment and has the possibility of process servers visiting or serving you, legal documents, which is no fun. So appointing a third party like us means our address will replace yours for the registered agent purpose. So those worries about being available during the working hours or having someone knock on your door to serve you would be eliminated. Another plus for appointing a registered agent outside of yourself would be the lack of unnecessary mail. So registered agents filter out the mail they receive on your company's behalf and remove like any of the junk mail. And one thing to notate is once you start your business, your company's, the mail starts to roll in. So you get huge amounts of mail. So registered agent really helps you filter through that. Next slide, please. So the next slide we're going to talk about is annual report services or a worry-free service. So now that your business is formed and now that you've appointed your agent, the state now requires you to stay compliant, meaning you need that annual or biannual pulse check. So you've got your articles of organization, which is like your birth certificate. You've got your EIN, which is like your social security number. Now you need your annual doctor visit, right? So are you still alive and kicking? Has any of your information changed related to the state, like your address, member or manager information, etc.? These checkups come in the form of annual reports or biannual reports with the Secretary of State. These documents can be a hassle to keep track of. Each state has different information requirements and different deadlines to file. And what happens if you forget to file? Well, your company can go into bad standing, owe huge penalty fees, and require additional documents to get your entity back into good standing. Plus, since your entity is established, your clients or potential clients can, run a search with the state and see that your entity is in bad standing, which is obviously not too appealing from an outsider's perspective. So we offer the worry-free service to alleviate that stress. You would not have to constantly worry if your report is due. We would keep track of your business and send reminder emails to make sure your information is up to date, and we will file your report on your behalf. Please note any of these services can be canceled at any time depending on your business situation. So do we have any questions in regards to registered agent services or annual report services? If you want to just put it in the chat, I can read it, because honestly, I can't see everybody's hand on Zoom. I'm still new to Zoom. Okay, well, cool. Feel free to put it in the chat if you do have questions. I will be happy to answer.
So Shama, one thing I thought maybe you might want to mention was, I think if you guys receive any letters as a registered agent, you actually upload them to the portal, right? So there's always a digital record of everything you receive.
Yes, that is a good point. You do have a dashboard and you do have a document section of your portal where you can see all these documents, and we would notify you. We would notify you email, and you can also log in and see your documents as well. That's a good question.
Yeah. And that's something I would recommend for anybody who's starting a business. Whenever you get mail that's important, just at least take a photo of it and scan it. But if you have a registered agent like ZenBusiness, they take care of that for you. So that is pretty nice.
Yes, 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 yes.
And Shama, there's a couple more questions here.
Yes. I'm gonna scroll down.
Here, I can read them to you. Is it a bad idea to appoint a relative to be your registered agent?
That we can't speak on. I know people do have relatives that they work with. So, if there's any further questions of that, you might want to, talk to legal counsel, but it depends on your situation. Do you like your relative? Do you not? So
Do you trust your relative?
yeah, there's a lot of family members that start businesses. So,
And one thing to clarify is you can be your own registered agent. That's perfectly fine. You just have to be available to receive that letter and be the point of contact who for any sort of official communications.
right. And you've got to have that physical address and be able, all working hours. You certainly can. And be able to filter through all that mail too, if you want. We have a link. Let's see, any other questions?
So we have a couple of questions. Tiffany had asked, how much is it for the service? Dion said that the link's going to be in the presentation that we'll share. So y'all can kind of browse that. And then Noelle asked, how do I decide the name of the business? Okay, so maybe that's something we can cover towards that, Noelle.
Yep. Yeah. It's a good question. All good questions. Thank you. All right. Well, I'll go ahead and move on. I wanted to speak on some common business struggles you might have. So I know Dion kind of tapped into this earlier, but naming requirements. So what business name makes your company more unique than the thousands of other companies out there? Is the name available, first off, with the state? Does the name have restrictions with the state? For instance, the word, like Dion said, bank or insurance are big words the Secretary of State flags. You normally cannot use those words in a business name without approval or special licensing. Other flag words are related to like the medical field, like doctor, nurse, MD. So you would have to question, are you practicing medicine? If so, this may require a completely different entity filing or licensing confirmation, which we can guide you and help you. Next struggle is understanding the difference between your filed articles, which is your articles of organization or your articles of incorporation for court, and versus your EIN. So both these documents kickstart your business. They are filed in different agencies and are both required to open bank accounts and to properly notify everyone in the federal government that you are a real functioning company. So they are pretty vital. Next, I'm gonna take a drink of water real quick. I didn't realize your throat gets pretty dry after a while.
No.
Next is business structures. So this is another topic that's pretty misunderstood. So according to the Secretary of State's really related to, LLCs, are you member managed or are you manager managed? Now, most beginning entrepreneurs like yourselves tend to start off as single owners, which you would be member managed. You alone are managing everything about your business, the front end, the back end, the whole shebang. Or you might have two owners who are managing everything, which would still relate to member managed structure. Now, over time, your business might grow and you and your partner might need some help. You no longer want to run the day-to-day responsibilities. So you hire a manager. So when you hire that manager, that would change your structure to manager managed. So the state really just wants to know who's managing the company and what's going on there. So another huge struggle is taking risks. So the beauty of starting a company is taking risks. You want to stand out apart from everyone else. This is your baby. This requires you to be able to take the wins with the losses and endure the joys as well as the pains. You must adjust to changes of all kinds to keep your business running successfully. One struggle is tailoring your business to your market and networking yourself well. This can be cumbersome, and we can help with that as well, which I think Megan will speak on a little bit about that. Lastly is financial management of your business. opening that bank account, organizing your accounts payable, which is the money you owe to all your creditors, getting your finances and documents organized, invoicing your customers correctly. These are all struggles your business might have, and ZenBusiness can help you in this area as well. So thank you. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Megan now.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Shama, for passing the baton over to me. I am Megan Fuentes. I have been with ZenBusiness for just about 2.5 years now, ballpark, which is absolutely wild to me. Previous to that, I was working with one of our competitors, but I have been in the industry now for probably about 7 years or so. Really excited to be back doing this. It was a lot of fun to do last year, and I'm really glad that we're able to do this again this year. I know that we are giving you guys a lot of information right now, and it can be a little overwhelming. So please feel free to blow up the chat with questions that we can absolutely spend time with going over towards the end of the call or in the middle of the call, whatever works best for you. Just put those questions in the chat, and then if somebody can just let me know if there's questions in there, that way I can switch back and forth. But next slide, please. Perfect. So what I'm going to be touching on right now are on products that we do offer here at ZenBusiness, but you don't necessarily have to do these things through us, right? There's a lot of different options out there, but what I'm going to be focusing on right now are some of the services and products that we provide in order to make business owners' life a little bit easier. So, I feel pretty confident in saying that everyone on this call has started or is starting their business off from a passion project, right? You saw an empty space in the market and you decided to take that leap forward, to fill that void in the market, to provide this service or this product. And that is absolutely amazing. Wholeheartedly, I want to applaud every single person on this call for taking that step into the unknown. It's scary, and we're here to help you all along the way, absolutely, every little step. So all of that said, at the end of the day, yes, this is a passion project, but it is a business, right? So money management is going to be a part of the future of your business. And something that we are actually able to provide on our end is something that's called ZenBusiness Banking. And it's actually one of the ways that we're able to help you out with your finances. So, I just lost my space on my notes, and that's okay. But essentially what it is we're actually able to provide our customers with access to discounted banking services that are very much designed for small businesses and startups. It includes unlimited and free transactions, online mobile banking, and then of course a debit card that comes along that you can either have on your dashboard, but you will also be mailed a physical debit card. Along that same line, we have ZB Money or ZenBusiness Money, which is essentially a really good way to manage all of your business dealings. So we help with expense tracking, client management, tax prep. All of these things can be really overwhelming, especially for first-time businesses, especially when you're just starting up, right? You could start your business and next month you have 12 clients, and at the end of the year, you have 150. And I hope that happens for every single person on this call. And it can get really overwhelming. So having a support system there, and essentially people who've done this a million times, who've built systems to help you succeed, is just something to keep in the back of your head as you're thinking about the growth of your business. Next slide, please. Now, like Shlok had mentioned earlier, all of the documents that we are able to obtain for you, right? The birth certificate of your document, which is the articles of organization or incorporation, operating agreement, all of these things, they will actually be uploaded onto your online dashboard. You will have access to them 24/7 as soon as they are available. That said, I am a sentimental person. I am a participant in the Kindle versus physical books conversation of I like having physical books. I like having something tangible in my hands.
if you are also like that and you want to have a nice physical reminder of this incredible thing that you've done, something that we offer here is something that's called a business kit. So you will get a professional folio. So you can see on the picture here, it is that gray box. And it's all branded, and it will have all of your essential documents in there. So the birth certificate of your business. It will also have an operating agreement if that's something that you need for your business. There's also going to be a template for your meetings ledger, which, depending on the type of business that you have, may be something that is actually required by the state. And also a compliance checklist, which is similar to what Shama was talking about, just a quick little list to ensure that you have everything that you need in order to remain compliant with the state. So again, this is not something that you absolutely need to run your business, but if you are a sentimental person like me, it is something that is really just nice to have. Now, switching back to the gears of digital documents, we have here also another product that we provide, which is our corporate documents. Something that you will learn as new business owners, whether you have started your business or have not yet started it, is the importance of document. If you didn't write it down, if it's not on paper, it didn't happen. So you will learn very quickly that while it can be a little bit tedious, it's super important to make sure that you have all of the proper documentation. Now, when it comes to having clients or business partners along the way, we actually have built-in templates that we are able to provide that are, for example, liability waivers, purchase agreements, loan agreements, intellectual property, confidentiality. So for example, if you're providing graphic design or some kind of freelance service, just make sure that you have those documents in hand. So we just have this nice little product that has everything there, some of the most common documents or templates that you may need. So this is a growing list of templates. So even if we don't have a template right now, it might be in there in the future. And next slide, please. All right, something else to keep in mind as new business owners is a business license report, or just in general, business licenses. So there is a very common misconception that if you've registered your business with the Secretary of State, that you're now licensed to transact that business and all businesses within your state. However, unfortunately, registering your business with the state does not have really anything to do with obtaining licenses and permits that you might need in order to operate your business. Now, a really good analogy that I heard of it earlier today was, it is the concept of, you can buy your perfect car off the lot. It is your dream car. It is absolutely perfect, no notes, but that does not mean anything unless you have your driver's license. Right, so you need to make sure that you have all of your ducks in a row. So essentially what a business license is it is any kind of license or permit that the state or other government entity requires you to have in order to do business in the state. Now, these could be licenses that are required at the federal level, at the county level, at the state level.
You call.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, I think somebody's mic might have just flipped on.
Ah, got it. So it could be any kind of permit that you might need. So not every single business needs one, but if you do need one, you need to make sure that you have it. So something that we are able to provide. So we here at ZenBusiness, we have a business license report that we can run. So our partners use the data that you provide. So your business location, industry, activities, and they identify any potential licensing requirements that you may have for your business. So this search is done at a federal, state, local level. So we're able to give you as much information as possible there. And last but not least, website services. We live in 2023. So whenever we do have a question, it's the first thing we do. We hop on over to our phone or a computer and we go ask our friend Google what it is that we need or what kind of product or service that we're looking for. So having an online presence, while it is not necessary to run your business, it is pretty important to have there just so customers are able to find you easily. And luckily, we do have web services here that we provide that we're able to obtain your domain name. So whatever the name of your business is, or whatever name you want that domain name to be. And we have over 100 templates that all of our customers are able to use. So essentially with those templates, you're able to drag and drop all kinds of widgets into your website, right? So all kinds of pictures, text, images, maps, contact forms. Additionally, there's any kind of third-party services that you're able to link to that website as well. So again, as your business grows, as you get partnerships, you start working with other businesses, you're able to link out those services as well. And luckily, there's a lot of storage on it. So you're able to have about 200 gigabytes of total storage. So that's the equivalent of about 100 videos or 15,000 images, which that 15,000 is a real big number. So I don't think you'll be hitting it, but there's the option to put 15,000 images on your website. Before I close this out, again, I just want to say, I know that we gave you guys a lot of information. So go ahead and start dropping all of those questions in the chat, and we will go ahead and do a little bit of Q&A on the things we're able to. Just a little nugget to keep in the back of your mind is we are not attorneys, so we can only ask or suggest so many things through some of your questions. But I will go ahead and pass over to Matt, who'll go over these last couple of links here.
Awesome. Thanks, Megan. So first and foremost, Shlok, thanks for having us back again. This is a pleasure. So that was a lot of information, guys, and I am not going to give you a whole lot of information. I'm gonna touch on a couple of things here. So don't worry about taking any notes. First and foremost, when I think about Synergies Work, I think about what it means to me. And to start off with, Artie and Shlok are just amazing individuals, as well as just great business partners. So lean on them. Absolutely enjoy the heck out of working with them. I also have a personal connection to this group. And so when I was introduced to Artie and Shlok about a year ago, I was talking to Artie, and she was telling me about her son, and I started talking to her about my brother. And when I was asked to put this project together, I didn't realize that Artie had a son with Down syndrome. She didn't realize that I had a brother with Down syndrome. So, there was this instant connection there. And, with that said, I will give you my commitment to doing everything I can for this group to succeed. That's one of the reasons that I've added my personal contact information to this slide. I saw Kim on the Kimberly Baker on the call. She can attest to we meet a couple of times a week, and we talk about the business, and we have a blast doing it, and it's actually one of my favorite calls of the week. So wanted to throw that plug in there, and really just to piggyback on what Dion said. I'm so proud of you guys, and a bit jealous that you're thinking about being your own boss. It is absolutely amazing, and something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be my own boss, right, and start a business, but I haven't quite done that yet in my life. So really proud of you guys. I'm going to speak for this team and just letting you know that we are all here to help. And while I put my contact information up there, and feel free to use it, please know that I won't have all the answers, but I have a huge team that I can lean on to get those answers. Okay. So while I think, you've just heard a lot of information, and we do this for a living, and it still sounds complicated to me. Let me assure you, it's not. You have Synergies Work. You have us. If there are any questions that that need answering, we can help you out there. So don't feel overwhelmed, because that was a lot of information, and I see this stuff daily. Now I'm going to touch on what Megan said. You know, we work in a regulated industry and we are not lawyers. We will do our best to get you an answer, but from time to time, it'll be, you know, sometimes we run into these situations where, you know, we may need to consult a lawyer or something of that nature on a question, but for the most part, I think we can probably answer them. I hate the answer that I'm not a lawyer, I can't answer that for you. So I will do my best to get answers there. You know, the team highlighted just a bunch of our products, and I saw the note in the chat about you know, what's the pricing, right? So we can talk a little bit about that. I can talk to anybody offline about that. But just know that you know, we're not trying to sell you any products. You can do all of this on your own, and people do it on a daily basis on their own. And don't be afraid to do it on your own, right? Lots of people do it. It can be overwhelming, but like, you've got us to rely on. I want to say that you know, ZenBusiness has a great and it's on the slide. I think Slope we'll share the slides out, but ZenBusiness has a really great learning tool. It's ZenBusiness/learning. And there are a ton of great videos about how to start, run, and grow your business. Use that resource. It's free on the website. So like, don't feel like you have to learn it all today or in this first hour. You know, the only other thing that I would say, and I wrote a note down when Megan was talking about our banking product. You know, one thing that with our banking product, it makes it really easy. If we do all the work for you, think about it. We have all your documentation for your LLC. We have your EIN. We have all of this stuff on file. So it makes it real seamless for us to be able to open that bank account up on your behalf too. Where, you know, we've seen this be a bit of a point of contention with some of these bigger banks. So we saw a area in the market, and you know, that's the reason we built this product. But again, you don't have to use any of our products. I'm not telling you to, but you know, that is a nice one. And again, like, there are a bunch of brilliant people on this call. You can all do it yourself. So I have no doubt in my mind. With that said, I think we can probably jump into a little bit of chat.
Yeah, definitely. If anybody has questions, feel free to drop it into the chat, or you can feel free to speak up. You know, we've got some time, so let's just have a conversation.
I think there was one. I think Tiffany asked a question earlier that I wanted to make sure that we tied back to when I was talking about your entity name. And you said, what if we started? So do you already have a business started and you're wanting to make changes, or what is your question around already having a started business?
Okay, I started my business back in 2020, but I stopped because I had some sickness. So, but I kept everything current like I was supposed to for those years. I do have my EIN and everything, and just so happen you guys came across my email. Just saying, I cannot do this. It was like my mind was everywhere. I was like, I gotta do the bank thing, and it's like when you go online and you actually look at the process of doing this stuff, it's overwhelming when you have a disability. So I was like, I need help. I need I know I'm going to need a mentor, and I'm going to need some help with building my foundation, because my head is like, I have a book that I have stuff that I want to put out there, but to be able to be coached to do that and be, not saying everybody's going to be successful, but to go out there and do it, you know, the correct way you can, you know, and making some progress, I'd rather have help, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I did process though.
Yeah, you want some help with now growing your business and running your business. You've done the hard part of getting it started, and congratulations to you for doing that on your own. That's a lot to be able to figure out for yourself. So great job. I think it can be one of the situations like what Matt's doing is helping out and giving some guidance and figuring out where you are specifically. So I think we can maybe set up some type of either mentor program or
Tiffany, you can actually just reach out to Synergies Work, and we've got some programs starting up that I think would be a great fit for you, but also we can help you with that mentoring, with getting access to the resources we have and these kind of programs as well. So feel free to reach out. We can kind of coordinate with you there.
Okay. Because I remember before I did the program the last time, I didn't qualify. I was ready.
We got a new program this year that I think we will work out for you. So just reach out. I'll send you some snippets. I see Noelle's got her hand up.
Okay.
Hi guys, so I'm Noelle Ford and I go to KSU, and I'm hoping to potentially start my own disability consulting firm. And the whole reason why I want to start my disability consulting firm is because my mom and we go to hotels and they say they're accessible, but accessibility is really just a umbrella term, really broad term. And I've actually helped make KSU more accessible. They had these 2 pedestrian bridges and they had like a 1.5 to 1 inch gap. I got them to flatten out. And then in one of the main buildings, they only had automatic doors for the bathroom on the 4th floor. And yeah, like I'm really realizing that there's like many places that you go, but not all of them are accessible. And I actually live at Champion's Place, which is a independent living facility with people with disabilities based in Johns Creek, Georgia. And we have automatic doors, ways to open. We have Google devices all in our rooms. And I mean, it's just amazing. But our world is not as accessible as you think. And I actually, going back to the business plan thing, I was like, oh, one Sunday night, I was like, oh, I watched this really good YouTube video about how to start your own business plan, and she was just breaking it down, and it was really interesting. So I'm just hoping to maybe make the world a little bit more accessible.
That's great.
You.
I think we had a question from, I believe your mom, Noelle, Nancy, that what's a security protocol in terms of confidential information to protect what's being uploaded?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're SOX 2 compliant, which means, yeah, we have a security team and a risk team. And so we went SOX compliant last year, and we're SOX 2 compliant this year. And you can think about, our security is anybody that's publicly traded has to be, and we are not, by the way, we're a privately held company, but we hold ourselves to a very high standard. So we are SOX compliant. And like I said, if you think about a big publicly traded company, we have the same security measures in place. We have a lot of private information, right?
Okay, Noelle, I see your message. You need to go. All good. Thanks for sharing. Jennifer did have a question. Do DBAs need to be renewed every so often?
That depends on the state that you're in and the county that you're in. Some of them, most DBAs are around a 5-year term and you renew after 5 years. But we can get specific to the county that you're in the state, and that will determine if it's renewable or if some of them go on forever. So it just depends on your location on state and county.
Okay, do we have any more questions? So I do actually have one. I know certain areas require that, they say they require that when you register your business, you need to announce it in a newspaper. My wife recently registered her business with Georgia, and she was like, do I need to do this? So what is I understand legally you probably should, but what's the common practice there?
Shama, this is one of your favorite topics.
What state did she have to publish in?
Georgia.
So is she an LLC or a corp?
She's an LLC.
She doesn't have to publish.
So what is it called? What is it called though, Shama?
The terminology for the publication. or,
It's the process of it, putting your information in the newspaper is called a publication. So
right?
that's the process that she'll have to go under, but go ahead, Shama.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple process. They just pretty much need your articles. And usually they reflect the registered agent information in that publication process. And depending, I can't exactly remember Georgia's process, but there's papers that have to be run at a certain amount of time. And sometimes it's one paper, sometimes it's two, but it's a publication process. It's an old school rule that 3 states still abide by. Yeah, like we read newspapers physically anymore, but yeah. So, but thankfully with Georgia, it's only for corps. So
Gotcha. Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Janice had a question that she saw a meeting template is a part of the ZenBusiness toolkit or BizKit. So are annual meeting minutes something that the registered agent has to provide to the Secretary of State as part of the check-in? Or I guess what's the function of the meeting minutes?
That is mainly for corporations. Those are required for corporations. They're called corporate minutes. And it's not the registered agent that has to be responsible for it. It's the owners of the business that run those, or your board. Like when you sit down and have either monthly meetings to determine any changes of the business, what's discussed, those things have to be documented. Most states don't require for you to file them or report them to the state, but you have to keep them on file in case you're audited. In case for some reason the state wants to come and look at all the documentation you have for your company. If you're a corporation, you are expected to have corporate minutes. So we give a template to those meetings on like just basic things that most people ask and keep control over. But that's where the minutes kind of come in. You're more than welcome to do them. I mean, it's a good idea to kind of keep, your agenda and your meeting notes anytime you do have a meeting, no matter what type of business you're in. But it's not required by the state until you're a corporation.
Good question. So Janice also asks, if we utilize ZenBusiness's web services, who maintains our website if we discontinue the services?
That's a great question. So yeah, if you discontinue the services, you have to find somebody else to host the website for you.
Hey, I'm sorry. This is Janice. I just asked that question just for clarity. When you say find someone else to host it, so I mean everything on the website, I won't have to like give up or relinquish or just dismantle it. I could take it and get another host.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead, Slope.
I was going to say, my understanding is ZenBusiness has their own kind of platform where you build the website. And if you stop the subscription with ZenBusiness, you won't have access to that platform anymore. So you would probably have to recreate it.
Okay.
And we have been able to, in situations when we've been able to pull the website down and put it in a re-uploadable file, so that you don't lose what you've got there.
Okay. All right. That makes me feel better. Thank you.
And I know Matt didn't want to mention the pricing, but I do want to say right now, if you want to register your business, ZenBusiness currently is doing it for $0 in terms of the filing fee. You do have to pay your state's fee, but it's a great way to at least get started with that process and get your business registered. And then you can decide, do you want these additional services or not down the line? I know when my wife and I were registering her business just a few weeks ago, we used ZenBusiness and it was a pretty easy process. I know you all have updated kind of your systems to make it like way more intuitive, which I liked. But like now we're getting to the point where it's like, okay, do we want to start a bank account? Do we want to, like, how are we going to manage the expenses, things like that? And we've been able to kind of just turn those on as needed. There's a million different tools you can use for this stuff, but I think if you're a business owner who's just starting out, your energy should be focused on what's important, not trying to go through 50 different apps and figure out what should I use for my website and stuff like that. So
yeah, one-stop shop is, kind of what we've tried to do for everybody, is put it all under one umbrella, as opposed to having to go to all different kinds of places. And if you look again, I left my email and my phone number on that slide. If anybody has any questions when they're going through, if you do decide to go through the flow with us, feel free to reach out to me. We've got a sales team that I have access to that can treat you as a VIP client and help you and get you walked through.
And then on the other end, if y'all have any questions about anything else business related, I mean, Synergies Work is here for you. So, you know, I think with us in ZenBusiness, we'll be able to take care of 99% of the things you're worried about.
Yes, we've seen the relationship between the two is amazing. So anything that we can do to help Synergies Work for any of you, we're totally on board and excited to see what part we can play in your dreams and your businesses, and anything we can help with.
Awesome. Well, last calls, any final questions before we wrap up, folks?
Yeah, I have one question. Okay, so do y'all know about dropship? Is that a part of your program?
So I mean, in terms of Synergies Work, so I mean, that's a type of business you could start. If that's what you're looking to do, we can definitely kind of talk you through it and just go over the basics. So at the end of the day, Tiffany, starting a business, regardless of what industry you're in or what you're doing, a lot of the things are going to be the same. It's just kind of the day-to-day operations are going to be a little different. So you still have to set up a business, you know, do your marketing, do your branding, manage your finances. I can't help you figure out where you're going to, you know, warehouse your stuff or source it, but I can do most of the other things when we're working with you. So
sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good.
And then using tools like ZenBusiness, you can understand that, okay, if I'm drop shipping, do I need certain licenses? Where do I need to register my business and all that kind of stuff? So our goal is to provide you with, you know, the support you need from our end, and then just show you all the tools you can use to make it easier.
Good thing.
Yeah. All right, folks. Well, thanks for coming. Really appreciate the whole ZenBusiness team coming out and teaching us so much stuff. I think this is like the third time I've gone through this presentation, and I feel like I get refreshed and I learn something new every single time. So that's awesome. One thing I did want to mention, guys, is we have these every month. Every month we go over a different topic. We're calling them our monthly masterclasses. I think last year we were calling them workshops, but just slight rebranding. So if y'all want to attend, please come. They're open to the public. Next month, I believe we're going to be talking about managing finances. So keep an eye out for emails, follow us on social media. And if you want to learn anything about ZenBusiness, highly recommend going to their website. They've got tons of information there. We will be sending out this recording, so y'all can go back through it along with the presentation that ZenBusiness has put out. So just keep an eye out over the next couple of days for that in your inbox. And other than that, you know, thanks for coming. Have a great rest of your week. Oh, it looks like
Thank you,
Christian has
everybody.
a
Bye-bye.
question about funding. Christian, I'll email you about that.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you. Bye.